Hi everybody, this is me, Tannaz Irani, and does everyone in the audience have a cell phone? Yeah? No, I'm not going to tell you to put it on silent, or I'm not going to tell you to put it on mute or anything like that. In fact, I'm going to ask you to look at your cell phone. Feed in my name, Tannaz Irani. If you don't have the proper spelling, don't worry. Google will correct it for you and take you right to my page, and you can read everything about me, right? So there's no need for me to actually be here, right? Because you know everything about me. Google knows everything. There's not a man on earth who needs to ask anything. His wife and Google knows all the answers, right? But that's not Tannaz Irani. What you're reading out there in Google is not Tannaz Irani. The spirit that keeps Tannaz Irani here, a good 30 years in the business, the reason why she's still a name to contemplate with, why people still call her, is not written in that Google article. You can just read about me that yes, I was married at the age of 20. I had a daughter. She is called Zian Kareem. She is now 30 years old. I divorced at the age of 28. I got married again to Irani, an actor. I have a son called Zias, aged 14, a teenager. And I have a daughter named Zara, age 11. So I have 3 children. I started my career 30 years ago. I've done so many movies, serials. I'm also a qualified life coach right now. And I'm also the CCO at Anya Wellness, a startup, a wellness company. But what is the spirit behind Tannaz Irani? Where does that spirit come in? That year after year, technology hits the entertainment industry. I have to reinvent myself. I'm still here, still happy. What about that spirit? Where can you read about it? That's why I thought I'd come here and tell you my story. And that I owe to my parents. I owe it to them. Because at the age of 6, when I told them I want to be an actress, they didn't know what to do. But they let me be. My parents let me be. No, they didn't believe in me. Okay, she'll grow up and become an actress or she'll act in a movie. No, they didn't encourage me either. But they let me be. They let me live my dream. I'm telling you, if they had held my hand and they'd encouraged me and they'd taken me ahead, I'm sure what I finished in 5 years of my career, I would have finished in 2 years. But do you think, I'm asking you, do you really think that 30 years later, I would be as confident on this stage with the same gleam in my eye, the smile on my face, and ready to accomplish and do anything that may have come my way? Because technology hit me when I started my career. There was only one national Doordarshan at that time, right? So we were quite complacent. We were really doing well. And then technology hit. And then there was Z, Colors, Star Plus. And then we had to reinvent ourselves. And then technology hit. And there was social media. And there was Instagram and Reel. I had to reinvent myself. And then technology hit and there were web series, OTT. I'm talking my child of 30 years. 30 long years. And I feel I've just started. मैंने तो कुछ किया ही नहीं. अभी तो मेरी शुरुआत है. Why do I have that bottomless pit that I have to keep satiating myself? Why do I have this need or greed to succeed? My own success. I'm not comparing myself to anybody. Because years ago, I think my parents were way beyond their time. They just let me be. And that is my topic for today. Bending the rules of parenting. I didn't want to just stand up on stage and be one of those typical actresses who's going to talk about her life, how difficult it was for me when I started out. I didn't even know a word of Hindi. I lived in a very quintessential Parsi family where we spoke the British English, and I went to school in town. I had never gone beyond the sea link now. I had never gone beyond to see Andheri. It was like a little forest at that time. You know, we used to pack our water and sandwiches when we had to go over Worli sea face. Now it's, sea link. Things have really changed at a rapid pace. But I moved on with time because I was let alone. I was let alone to dream, to do what I wanted to do. And that's the topic that I want to bring today. As parents, now that I am one, I know that I am just here to facilitate my children's lives. The way I was a parent to my 30-year-old is not at all the same as I am the parent to my 11-year-old. It is so different. Today, you cannot deal with the children of today like how we were dealt with. I'll tell you why. Because the environment that we belong to, the people that we're living with, are not the same that we grew up in. Parenting cannot be with the technology of an ambassador car when your children are living in the era of the Tesla car. They do not need your guidance on career. They do not need your guidance on what they need to do or how they need to interact or their social boundaries or how emotional they should be with others. But what they do need is to make sure that you have a beautiful emotional quotient, a comfortable emotional background when they come home. Why do you think I am the authority of speaking about all this? Everyone must say, you know, I'm a good parent. Everyone is a good parent. They want to do the best for their children. Because as an actor, we always have to keep the child in us alive. I am always living the life of a 20-year-old and a 30-year-old. I'm always applying for a job again and again. Like I do a serial today, I lose my job, I have to apply again. Today I'm working with somebody, it's over, the assignment is over, I'm jobless. I don't have the qualifications. Can you imagine how volatile an actor's life is? Have you ever thought about it? I am applying for a job literally 15 times a year and mostly I get rejected. Mostly I get rejected. Now hold on to that thought and think about it. I support a family. Me and my husband both are actors. We support a family. But not once have my children ever come up to me and said, oh my God, look at your grades. Look at how much salary you're earning. Look at that actor in your movie. He is earning in crores. Mama, you're only earning lakhs and thousands. Has a child ever told that to a parent? No, right? So I said, we need to bend the rules of parenting today. Circumstances are that much more volatile outside. Your child just needs you to believe in him. He needs you to just listen. Like a small example. You know when you get ready and you wear a beautiful dress and you go to a party and everyone's complimenting you, but then you hear a touch and your own husband says, wow, you know, this dress really suits you. This color, you're looking beautiful. What happens to that wife? What happens to that woman? Suddenly, the entire world on one side and that one compliment from her husband or her son or her daughter makes you bloom, right? That's exactly what happens to your children. They just need you to believe in them. All their trials, their tribulations, their failures, they need to go through to make them that strong so that they can stand here 30 years later with the same smile on their face and confidence because they know there is someone behind who believes in them. There was just a small example which made me realize that. The other day, last year actually, I had auditioned for a huge movie with one of the biggest doins of Bollywood cinema. And I was dying to be a part of it. I gave the audition, it was fabulous according to me. And I thought 100% I've got this role. This role was written for me. And a month later, the agent called me back and said, ma'am, actually, we're really sorry we had to go with somebody else because you were too well known and maybe, of course, we'll work together again. Your audition was fabulous. What do you think happened to me? How do you think I felt? I felt a little dejected. I felt very sad that I couldn't be a part of this show, this movie. I thought this would be a great comeback. You know, Corona just ended. My life would be set. And I'd made great dreams on this job, this new job that I would get. And suddenly everything came crashing down. I told this to my daughter, the 11-year-old, and then we went to see the movie in the theater. And the movie started, and of course I was a little anxious to know, okay, who played this role? And I was eating my popcorn, and suddenly a small voice from one seat away from me says, "Mummy." And I'm like, "Yes." She says, "Mom, see, this is your role. But you couldn't play it, Mummy, because you're too well known. Everyone in this scene is not known, Mama. That's why you couldn't play it. It's not because you were bad. It's not because you overacted. It's not that you are old-fashioned, Mama. You're okay. This scene, they couldn't have taken you." So I said, "Yeah, that's right. Thank you, Zara. That's really sweet." And suddenly inside, I was feeling all warm and nice and fuzzy. And I was feeling so at peace with myself. I didn't need her assurance, not at my age, not after all the trials and tribulations and failures that I've been through. I didn't need anyone to tell me anything. But that she took that time out, the fact that she told me that, she acknowledged the fact that Mummy must have felt bad because I would have felt bad if I didn't get that role. The fact that my own family member was there for me made me feel that if at this age I needed that, then imagine those small little hearts that we have given birth to, what all they might need. It's high time, and I say this from full authority as an actor who always has to reinvent herself, apply for jobs, make sure that people like me from time to time, change myself because technology has changed, upgrade myself, learn how to use a selfie stick, learn how to use, all the little requirements that we need to do in our job. I've always reinvented myself time to time. All we need is somebody back home to believe in us. That's all your children need. When they're small, we listen to them because they listen to us, right? When they're toddlers, they go to school, they eat the breakfast that we give them, they wear the clothes that we give them, they talk to the parents and they talk to the children that we tell them. It's a perfect life. So we are happy when they come back and tell us all these stories. Our eyes are gleaming, we are smiling. As they grow older and they come back with stories that don't align with your perfect world, what do? We as parents stop listening. We start advocating. We start advising. We stop looking, our eyes stop gleaming, and we stop interacting. Tell me, why would that child come back and speak to you? Which is the common complaint of every parent. My child doesn't talk to me. My child doesn't listen to me. How well are you listening to your child? When was the last time you just sat on the bed and lay down and looked at the fan and spoke about absolutely nothing? Or spoke about your own insecurities? When was the last time you just hugged them when they entered? A teenager, 19-year-old, 20-year-old. When was the last time they entered the door and you hugged them and said, "Oh my God, I'm so happy to spend time with you. I love you so much. And I don't care what your marks are as long as you're enjoying your school life." When was the last time you told them that? Because the minute you pass the seed of responsibility onto the opposite person, chances are he will stand up and rise to the occasion. Trust me, there are so many times when I have come back and said, "You know something, I did something very wrong. I bashed up the car, or I was at a party where I shouldn't have been, or there were people drinking, it wasn't a great party." If at that time my parents wouldn't have been there just emotionally for me and asked me a question, "How do you feel? Did you feel it was the right thing?" Maybe it's your age. Maybe that's why you did it, but next time you'll be careful. The minute you pass the onus on to your child, he will stand up to his responsibilities. But for that, every mom and dad need to have jigra. As a parent, You need to have that jigra of faith, of patience. You know what is jigra? Patience, guts. You need those guts to stand 2 steps back and just watch your child. For me as a parent, I'm like that tree that's always going to stand with my roots firmly on the ground. I'm going to be there for my children to shade them, nourish them with the fruits, give them the shade, let the cool breeze come in. But when the winds of danger come, I am going to bend. Why am I going to bend? Because or else I'll break. And if I break, I'll break on them. And if I break on them, that's going to be detrimental to their future. So today, I haven't come as a speaker to tell you how emotionally volatile my life was, how difficult it was for me to reinvent myself, to be here, standing firm, enjoying every day of my life, my passion for acting. Today, I'm going to be here as the world needs it to talk about the conscious parenting, how we need to bend the rules of parenting that we have been conditioned for so many years. There's a lot of thought that goes into your career. There's a lot of thought that goes into education. There's a lot of thought that goes into relationships. Trust me, similarly, a lot of thought has to go into parenting, because today all parents are typically clueless because we're dealing with a world that is absolutely new. So let's bend those rules before those rules break us. Thank you.